What's up guys, my name is Gabe and welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the full game review for USC's tough loss to Michigan. I did my first rewatch and I feel a lot better about some things, a lot worse about others, and even more disgusted with the officials, which we'll get into as well. Don't want to waste any time here. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the videos. Thank you so much for being here today, and let's get into it. Okay, so starting off with the offense, we were not ready to go at the start of this game. The offensive line was completely overmatched from snap one until the end of the game. They got dominated, plain and simple. At first, I thought Jonah Monheim had a pretty good game, but multiple times in this one, he got destroyed by Mason Graham. I've never seen that happen to Jonah. That was crazy to see on film. The one guy who actually did have a good game was Emmanuel Pregnon. He was by far our best pass blocker, really like what we saw from him. But man, Elijah, Tobias, Alani, Amos, Mason, and Jonah were all overmatched and outplayed from start to finish. Don't worry, I am going to be talking about Josh Henson later in this video. And for the first time since Caleb left, we saw the effects of not having a magician at quarterback. There really was not much Miller could do when the pocket broke down. He doesn't have the arm strength to really throw off his back foot or off platform. But when Miller was protected for at least a few seconds, I thought he made some really nice throws. Each of the 3 touchdowns were right on the money. It does seem like Lincoln isn't fully comfortable opening up the playbook yet. This is game 3 now and we still look pretty vanilla. Now there is a reason for that. What exactly that is, I don't know. He either doesn't trust the line, doesn't trust Miller, maybe a combination of both. But I actually happen to think that Miller is a phenomenal intermediate to deep ball thrower. He's shown great touch and great ball placement. I would love to see us give him more opportunities to push the ball down the field, especially when you have some of the cats we have playing wide out. Our guys can go up there and get it, give him a chance, put that ball up in the air. And guys, you don't need a ton of time to get the ball downfield. Think about how fast these guys are running. These guys are running 4.5 second 40s. Snap the ball, take your 3-step drop back, get the ball out pretty quickly. But yeah, I saw a lot of USC fans criticizing and blaming Miller Moss for saying that we need to switch to Jade Mayava. No and no. Miller was tough as nails in this game, made some A1 top drawer throws. He kept us in this game. He brought us ahead in this game. And this loss is nowhere close to being on him. He's our quarterback, and I'm beyond proud of how hard he fought for us in this game. One of the biggest problems that this USC offense has, though, is that we can't run the ball until we have success throwing it. We are not a good enough run blocking line to run against loaded boxes. You have to push the ball downfield to get the defense to back off. And when we have 0 time to get the ball off, it creates this weird offensive purgatory where you have to find the answers for the questions they're asking. On the fly, on the road, at a hostile stadium. That's a tough spot to be in, man. We finally did start to figure it out and start to unlock that Michigan defense in the second half. There were some big calls made that took some serious stones from Lincoln Riley and Josh Henson. Elijah Page went to the bench, Mason Murphy got shifted over to left tackle, and Tobias Raymond came in at right tackle. And that helped for a while until it didn't, until the dam broke. So I want to give you guys some absolutely wild PFF grades. I did my rewatch, and while I could say that some of these are a little harsh, it did check out when I watched it, unfortunately. Mason Murphy, Tobias Raymond, Elijah Page, pass blocking grade of 0. Let me say that again. Those 3 guys, Murphy, Raymond, Page, each of them with a grade of 0 out of 100. 0. Amos Talele, 25.6, Jonah Monheim, 33.9, Alani Noah, 44, and Pregnon with a 77.5. Dude's a stud. Again, those are all pass blocking grades. Also per PFF, Michigan had 27 pressures, 22 of them came within 2.5 seconds. Of those 27 pressures, 16 came within 2 seconds. We allowed pressure on 39% of dropback. Miller was hit or sacked on 16% of his dropbacks. The lowest our offensive line has ever been graded in the PFF era was Alabama in 2016. They received a 44.9 grade that day. Our line against Michigan, 27. This was by far the worst offensive line performance, even including the Clay Helton era, which is a stunning thing to say out loud. But when you watch it, it's true. We got absolutely dominated up front. It wasn't close. And guys, what those grades and stats say to me is the same thing as what the eye test says to me. It's not necessarily a matter of technique or scheme. This was simply a below average college offensive line going up against an elite defensive line. We were overmatched, and to the extent that we were overmatched is very concerning. It's a red flag. Now, this is the best defensive front we'll see this year, but it's not the last good one we'll see. Penn State, Rutgers, Notre Dame, Washington, they've all got dudes along the line. It has to get better and get better like now. This is game 3, warm-up period is over. This simply has to get better. And look, I've been as big a supporter of Coach Henson as anybody. I'm a fan of the person and the coach, love Coach Henson. But at some point, we need to start seeing some development take place. He inherited Jonah Monheim. He was a made product already. We need to see jumps from the guys he brought in. Have to see it, not calling for his job or anything close to that. But if we don't start to see that improvement going forward this year, it'll be time to have an honest conversation about it. Now, I want to talk about the wideouts. We're 3 games in, and I feel comfortable saying this now. Deuce Robinson has to be a major factor in this offense going forward. We have seen USC play against 3 teams now, 3 secondaries that all cannot match up with him. He's too big, too fast, and actually one of the better route runners on this team. He simply makes plays when the ball is thrown his way. On your screen now is the target list so far this season for our pass catchers. You see Zachariah Branch, Lake McCree, Woody Merks, Kyron Hudson, Jacoby Lane, Mekhi Lemon, and then Deuce Robinson. Only 7 targets through 3 games. Way too low. Too much talent, too effective. DBs at LSU and Michigan couldn't stay with him. Now, wide receiver deployment and target allocation is something I've questioned with Lincoln during his time at USC. Mario Williams and Dorian Singer getting more usage than Michael Jackson was and is still unacceptable in my opinion. Zachariah hasn't proven to be a game breaker at wideout yet. Deuce has. He has to have a bigger role in this offense, and significantly so. I also really like what we've seen from Jay Fair. He has a really interesting skill set. We also lost Lake McCree to injury in this game, and it looks like it could be a season ender. He's our leading pass catcher on the year. Now, I'm very high on Cade Eldridge and Walker Lyons, so I'm not worried about the quality drop-off necessarily. But Miller and Lake have been playing together for a while. The chemistry was great between those two, so we'll have to see if the new guys can get up to speed and on the same page with Miller. Loved what we saw from the backs in this game. Woody missed some holes early on, but he got it going in that second half. And had we won this game, him stealing the ball from Kenneth Grant would be an absolute immortal play that would forever be embedded in Trojan lore, but still a great play from him. And man, Quentin Joyner is a dude. He has taken that next step. He's running people over. He's running with so much power. It was awesome seeing him truck Will Johnson. That play was, of course, a run to the outside, which leads me to my next point, play calling. This was undoubtedly Lincoln's worst game as a play caller at USC, and we still dominated the second half, so that really says something about how good he truly is. But when you watch the Michigan-Texas game, what didn't Sark do? He did not run right at Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham. Why? Because that's stupid. It just is. When we ran it off tackle, we actually had some success. Running at the best interior duo in the country is counterintuitive. The tight end screens against zone coverage also make 0 sense. They didn't work time and time again. And unfortunately, we probably lost Lake for the rest of the year on one of those. Very unfortunate, but the thing that has stuck with me from this game the most is the play calling sequence on the second to last drive. You're ahead in the game, there's about 5 minutes left. Because of the type of offense that Michigan is, you should effectively be in your 4-minute offense there. And look, man, if you're gonna turtle and be conservative, you have to at a very minimum kill the clock. Run up the middle, shovel pass, both of them being incomplete, stopping the clock. What are we doing? A terrible, horrific sequence that played just as big a role in us losing the game as the long run we gave up on defense. That cannot happen. Lincoln did admit post-game that he should have called it better, which is fine, but in the moment, you just can't have that. Lincoln has shown us time and time again that he's not a good game manager. That was an unacceptable sequence and one that we have to learn from and get better from. So yeah, overall from the offense, man, Miller's awesome. O-line is in a crisis. Loved what we saw from the wideouts. And yeah, very excited to hang 50 on Grinch's head next week. All right, now let's talk about the Trojan defense. Outside of 3 plays, this defense was phenomenal. And trust me, we will get to those 3 plays in a minute, but I'm very proud of this unit. We tackled well for the most part. We were tough, we were physical. And let me just say, Eric Gentry is the best player on this team. Offense or defense, he is all over the field. He's our most physical player. He's one of our smartest players as well. He's playing at a different level right now. He's taking on blockers, he's knifing through the line of scrimmage and making plays in the backfield. He is simply put elite. Yeah, best player on this team, not a question for me. Don't feel like I'm over exaggerating, but let me know down below if you think I am. Jalen Smith is our best corner. He has upped his game tremendously. Tackling, coverage, man, zone. Jalen can do everything for you out there on the football field. Highest graded defender on the day per PFF. 84.8 tackling grade, 85.5 coverage grade, elite and elite. They tried to catch him sleeping multiple times to play action, but he was disciplined and assignment sound each and every time. Also thought Gavin Meyer and Nate Clifton had a very good game. Nate is proving to be a very good pass rusher from the interior. Shockingly, this had to have been the worst game of Kamari Ramsey's career. He was uncharacteristically out of position on those long runs. He'll bounce back from that. That's not who he is. He will be just fine going forward. But speaking of those long runs, let's take a closer look here at the final long run that set up the game-winning touchdown. So for me, there are 3 big factors that led to this long run. Of course, the defense had been so good up to this point, so this was a very disappointing sequence. Okay, so the first thing we're going to take a look at here is we're going to look at the defensive line. You had 4 guys on the line here to start the play. And if you'll notice, this gap right here is wide open. And if you look 5 yards downfield, you'll see Barry Alexander. He got completely blasted off the ball and taken out of the play on this one. They did throw in a chip on him with number 17, but that is absolutely not an excuse to get blasted off the ball that bad. When you're a guy that's holding out in the offseason for extra money, this can't happen on the biggest play of the game. Just cannot happen. It wasn't all bad from Bear on this day. He did have some good reps earlier in the game, but in this moment, that is an unacceptable effort. And when you see plays like that, it becomes a little bit more clear why he's only getting 20 reps a game. Now, the second unacceptable error comes from Easton Mascarenhas-Arnold. This is a veteran player on this defense. He simply has to make this play in the hole. He's right here. He has to bring the ball carrier down. That's his role. He had a lot of good plays in this one as well. But in this moment, your starting Mike Backer in the hole has to get the ball carrier down, plain and simple. Now, a lot of people are blaming John Humphrey for not making the play here. Coming from that angle against a guy that probably has 30 pounds on you, that is a big, big ask. Would you like to see John bring him down there? Yeah, of course. I also think he did a good enough job tying him up that I'm not going to give him too much of the blame here. But again, like I said, Kamari Ramsey had the worst game of his career, and this was the biggest letdown of the day for him. I don't know if his brain switched off and he thought John was going to get him down, so he just kind of pulled off. But Kamari just simply has to make this play. He has to get the running back down on the ground. I mean, he was right there. I don't really know what happened. It kind of just looked like he short-circuited. Very strange and uncharacteristic play from him. Don't expect that to continue. He is one of the better tackling defensive backs in the entire country. But yeah, it was really just a chain reaction of errors in this moment that led to this play happening. And it's so unfortunate because we had been dominating them in the second half. What was it, like 9 total yards in the second half allowed up to this point? So yeah, it's a brutal time to have that from Bear, to have that from Easton, to have that from Kamari. I'm sure they're going to learn from that, but had we not had that play, we're probably winning this game. So yeah, overall on the defense, it was a mixed effort on the day. 85% of it was fantastic, outstanding, whatever word you want to put there. But look, man, at the end of the day, you can't give up 3 explosive runs. I don't blame them at all for the touchdown allowed there at the very end. Anthony Lucas got absolutely bear hugged as the running back went into the end zone in the same gap that he scored through, so no chance there for us. If the refs aren't going to call it, there's nothing we can really do. And yeah, talking about the officials here for a minute. Before all of the idiot Michigan fans start typing that I'm blaming this loss on the refs, that's not what I'm doing. We lost the game on the field. But man, going back and watching it, the refs were even worse than I had originally thought. The holding on every single touchdown run is egregious. The 2 face masks on Miller were dangerous. Not accusing anyone of anything, but if you go back and look at the Mekhi Lemon hit on that special teams play, that is a pretty common kill shot that teams do implement on the gunner, especially when the gunner is a prominent player on the opposing team's offense or defense. It's kind of a free shot that usually doesn't get called, and this one was really egregious. They put the blindside block rule into the sport for a reason, and the refs absolutely failed Mekhi and didn't protect him at all in this case. But yeah, I could go on and on about the refs. They were dreadful. It was shameful. Any Michigan fan that can't admit that is pretty much a joke to me. But yeah, just like in the instant reaction, the more I talk about this game, the more upset I get, so I'm going to get out of here. If you guys did happen to enjoy this game review, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much. You're all awesome, and as always, take care and fight on.